Hi, this is Joe McNally for AdoramaTV, and in this segment I'm going to talk about two different approaches to shooting a scene with long lens.
AdoramaTV presents Photo on the Go with Joe McNally.
Now, over my shoulder you've got a pretty picture, fall foliage, church steeple, real New England stuff, pretty stock and trade sort of photograph. Nice to look at. I'm operating at distance here, okay, with a 200 to 400 millimeter lens. I'm zoomed out around 350 or so, and I'm shooting a shutter speed f-stop combination of 250 at 7.1. Reason I have 7.1 in that neighborhood is I want a fair amount of depth to this. I want to be able to discern some of the details and patterns of the leaves and the colors, and obviously the critical sharpness is dropped right on the steeple. To do this with a 200 to 400 millimeter lens, I'm going to probably rely on a very important piece of equipment. Tripod. Okay? In this instance, I used a tripod roughly about this size. Now there's all sorts of sizes of tripods. There's travel tripods that are super tiny, carbon fiber which are super light. When I bring a tripod, I tend to go for something around this size. It's a Gitzo tripod, and it gives me enough height and it gives me enough stability that I can really actually depend on it relative to a long lens. 200 to 400 is a fair chunk of glass, and so I'm going to have a commensurately strong tripod to match up with that lens. That's one approach. Hi, Joe McNally here for Adorama. Be sure to check out Adorama's latest contests to win prizes. So now you see a different approach up on the screen. In tight, detail, still shot with a long lens. So that first church steeple picture, you know, the church steeple's way out here, okay? It's all surrounded by the foliage and all of that, and I'm on a hillside. You know, I might be a mile away from that, you know, with a 350 millimeter lens throw on a very long piece of glass, the 200 to 400. In this instance, I'm using the power of a long lens up close and personal. This is our set of chains on a dock, so this it's a maritime scene. So there's all these chains, you know, on this kind of, you know, spool, and I am right up against it. I am at the minimum focusing distance on a 200 millimeter f2. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with my tripod. I don't like to bring it with me. I hate it. But then when I get out there and realize I should have had it with me, I hate it even more. Not a relationship that's ever going to be completely happy. But in this instance, I'm shooting a 200 millimeter lens, early dawn. Okay, so there's not a lot of light, certainly not the warmth of the steeple picture. It's very cool and bluish light. So I emphasize that by going into a tungsten or incandescent white balance. Emphasizing the cool nature of the chains, coming in close so I seek out the repetitive detail of the chain links, filling the frame via the 200 millimeter lens. But I didn't have a tripod. I'm shooting at f2 at a 20th of a second. I had a lot of stuff on here that was out of focus, and if you look closely, there's one near chain. There's a chain that's closest to the lens. It's slightly out of focus at f2. Here is a situation where I wish I had my tripod, okay? And, you know, I did what I could, did my best, but two different approaches, both involving long lenses, a mistake on my part, and that essential component that I should have had both times, the tripod. This is Joe McNally for AdoramaTV, and in this segment we talked about using long lenses to approach two very different scenes and also using long lenses in different ways.
Do you want great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy to use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.